Hey guys, welcome back to Done with Depression. Today we're talking about my experience switching antidepressants. So, a little bit of backstory. I first started taking antidepressants when I was an inpatient. They started me off on Lexapro, and I was taking 20 milligrams, which is the maximum dose that you can take. I got out of inpatient and I was in IOP, and I continued to take the 20. And my psychiatrist wanted to try and get me down to 10 because it was my first time ever taking antidepressants, and he didn't want me to be at the max dosage right away. So while I was in IOP, he dropped me down to 10, and then a couple of days later, I just was not feeling good. Everything was falling apart. I was emotional. I think some of it had to do with the therapy, just bringing up old stuff, but I just could not deal with the medication change. So we went back up to 20 for the rest of IOP, and then I went back to work, and I was at work for a couple weeks, and all of the effects of the Lexapro just started to wear off. Over 6 weeks in now, I'm just feeling awful. I'm feeling almost where I was at before I was ever taking antidepressants. And I went to my therapist and I just fell apart and I was like, I need help. This isn't working. Life sucks. Please save me, pretty much. So she signed me up for PHP, which is the partial hospitalization program. And the first or second day I was in there, you see a psychiatrist and they go over your medication. So I told her my experience with the medication. She asked me lots of questions: when I started taking what dose, when I started, how long I've been on this dose or that dose. And she switched me up to Effexor. So Effexor is a little different. It's in a different serotonin category than Lexapro. And I was super nervous to switch medications. I had already started on Lexapro. I was on the max dose, which already has its own thoughts, right? When you're on the max dose of an antidepressant and it's not working. And then now I fell apart. I was in a whole new program, and she wanted to wean me off of Lexapro, which I was somewhat comfortable with now, even though it wasn't working, and start me on this whole different medication. So the way we did it was I started taking less Lexapro, so I went from 20 to 10, and then I started taking the Effexor minimum dose. And then after a week of taking both of them on a lower level, I switched over to just Effexor. So it was really cool that we did it that way because I still had some of the old medication in my system while I was also starting the new medication. So there was less side effects and is more of a gradual change. And then of course, I was still in the program and they were able to monitor me, and she was able to check my dosage and all of that as well. Then after the week of taking both, she bumped me up on the Effexor. So 35 or 37.5 is the minimum dose of that. And then after a week, bumped me up to 75, which is the minimum dose if you're not taking anything else. So that's what I was on since then. And I feel like it's been working. I feel a lot happier day to day. I'm also doing more therapy. They say that a new antidepressant takes at least a couple weeks to kick in. That hasn't really been my experience. It might just be the placebo effect, but I usually feel the switch pretty quickly. I know when I dropped down on the Lexapro, I felt it really quickly, and then once I went straight to Effexor, I felt it pretty quickly as well. So again, it might just be the placebo effect. It could be the therapy that I'm doing. It could actually be the medication. I'm not really sure, but switching medications wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I was terrified. I thought I was going to have all these side effects. I thought I was going to fall apart and feel way worse than I was before. And I was super nervous and going and getting all these different prescriptions now and keeping track of which ones you're taking and all of that stuff. But it's not that big a deal. It ultimately made me feel better, and I'm doing good now. So don't be scared. It's not that big a deal. You'll be fine. Anyway, if you guys are interested in reading any books, I have two in the description below. One that I just finished called Four Agreements, and another one that I'm currently reading right now called The Intelligent Investor. I have links down in the description to their link on Amazon if you guys are interested in those. Also, comment if you have any questions on switching medications or my experience doing that. And like and subscribe so we can get a good, healthy community going where we can talk about depression in a healthy, safe, and inclusive way. Thank you guys. Have a great day.